Hello, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Welcome back to my channel, SZ Coins News. Today, first up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the USA Washington quarter dollar from 1966. If you have one with gray spots, no mint mark, and in very fine condition, stay tuned as we explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. To understand this coin, we need to look at the era it comes from. The year 1966 was a crucial time in American history, filled with social and political changes. The Washington quarter was originally introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of the first U.S. President, George Washington. However, the 1966 quarter was produced during a transitional period for U.S. coinage. Due to a nationwide silver shortage in the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint made a critical decision to eliminate silver from dimes and quarters starting in 1965. This means that the 1966 Washington quarter, like its 1965 and 1967 counterparts, was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition instead of the 90% silver used in earlier quarters. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this historical coin. The obverse side of the 1966 Washington quarter, designed by John Flanagan, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington. This iconic image has remained a staple of U.S. coinage for decades. Above Washington's head, we see the word Liberty, and below his chin the phrase, "In God We Trust." The date, 1966, is positioned at the bottom. While we're focusing on the obverse side today, it's worth mentioning that the reverse of the coin features a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows, and an olive branch, a symbol of both military strength and peace. Some of these 1966 quarters, especially those that have been in circulation for years, develop grayish spots. These discolorations are typically caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, or improper storage. While this does affect the coin's overall grade, a very fine condition piece with minimal wear still holds significant historical and collector interest. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of a 1966 Washington quarter in very fine condition, even with gray spots, typically ranges $148,000. However, in extremely fine to uncirculated condition, these coins can sell for $150,000. For collectors and investors, 1966 quarters remain a key part of U.S. numismatic history. While they may not contain silver, their significance and scarcity in higher grades make them a desirable addition to any collection. That wraps up our deep dive into the USA Washington quarter dollar 1966. It's a coin with a rich history, an iconic design, and a strong presence in the collector's market. Next up, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1970 Washington quarter, specifically the version without a mint mark, in very fine condition, and with gray spots. If you have one of these, stay tuned because we'll uncover its history, design, features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. Before we discuss the 1970 quarter, let's take a quick trip back in time. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, this quarter has since become a staple of U.S. currency, with a design that remained largely unchanged until the state quarters program in 1999. By 1970, the quarter was being minted in large numbers to meet the growing demand for circulating currency. However, unlike earlier issues, these quarters were made of copper-nickel clad rather than 90% silver, which had been phased out after 1964. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this historic coin. On the obverse side, we have the iconic portrait of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan. His bust faces left with the inscriptions "Liberty" above and the year 1970 below. The motto, "In God We Trust," is placed to the left of Washington's neck. Now, flipping to the reverse, we see the majestic American bald eagle with outstretched wings clutching a bundle of arrows, a symbol of military readiness, while an olive branch rests below, representing peace. Above the eagle, the words United States of America are inscribed, with E Pluribus Unum just below that. The denomination quarter dollar is clearly displayed at the bottom. Some of these 1970 quarters, especially those that have been in circulation or exposed to varying environmental conditions, develop grayish spots over time. These spots are typically the result of oxidation, moisture exposure, or improper storage. While they might slightly lower the grade of a coin, they do not necessarily render it worthless, as collectors still seek well-preserved examples. So, how much is the 1970 Washington quarter worth today? The value of this coin depends on several factors, including condition, rarity, and collector demand. A 1970 quarter in very fine condition, even with some gray spots, typically sells for around $138,000. However, if you have one in uncirculated condition, it can be worth anywhere $140,000 or more. Proof versions and special mint sets can command even higher prices. Additionally, some error varieties of the 1970 quarter, such as double die obverses or off-center strikes, can be worth highest dollars. If you think you have a rare variety, it's always a good idea to have your coin professionally graded. That wraps up our deep dive into the USA quarter dollar 1970 Washington quarter. Even if your coin has gray spots, it still holds numismatic and historical value. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. coinage with a detailed look at the 1972 Washington quarter. Specifically, we'll explore the version without a mint mark that has retained its silver-like shine, graded as very fine condition. We'll discuss its rich history, design, special features, and, most importantly, its collector's market value today. Stay tuned. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, it replaced the standing Liberty quarter and became an enduring part of American coinage. Initially, these quarters were struck in 90% silver, but by 1965, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition due to rising silver prices. By 1972, all circulating quarters were made of copper-nickel clad, but some still retained a silver-like shine, confusing collectors and sparking interest in these seemingly unique pieces. However, as we'll discuss, this isn't true silver, so let's examine what makes these coins special. Let's break down the design of this beautiful coin. On the obverse, we see John Flanagan's iconic portrait of George Washington. The inscriptions include Liberty above Washington's head, In God We Trust to the left, and the year 1972 at the bottom. Since this version lacks a mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse features a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace. The inscriptions read, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum above, with quarter dollar at the bottom. One of the interesting characteristics of some 1972 Washington quarters is their silver-like shine. Many collectors mistake these for silver quarters, but they are actually made of copper-nickel clad. The shine often results from preservation in optimal conditions or certain minting factors. While they may not be silver, their appearance still attracts collectors. Now, let's talk about the value. A 1972 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very fine condition typically sells for $130,000. However, If you have one in uncirculated or mint state condition, prices can range $132,000. Rare error varieties such as off-center strikes or doubled dies can fetch even higher prices, sometimes exceeding $135,000. Maximize the value of your 1972 Washington quarter, consider getting it graded by a professional service that coins in high grades with unique features can attract serious collector interest. And there you have it, everything you need to know about the 1972 Washington quarter without a mint mark, its history, design, special features, and current market value. Even though it isn't made of silver, its shine and historical significance make it a great piece for any collection. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating history, design, features, and collector's value of a unique variant, the 1974 Washington quarter dollar with a light green layer minted in Denver. If you own one in very fine condition, stick around because you might be surprised at its worth in today's market. The Washington quarter has been an essential part of U.S. currency since 1932, when it was first introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Initially made of 90% silver, the composition changed in 1965 due to the rising cost of silver. By 1974, quarters were composed of a copper-nickel clad, making them more affordable for mass production. The 1974 quarter was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The D mint mark signifies that this coin was minted in Denver. However, what makes this particular variant intriguing is the presence of a light green layer, which might be due to environmental exposure, oxidation, or minting anomalies. Let's take a closer look at the design and unique features of this coin. The obverse, or front side of the coin, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The word Liberty is inscribed at the top, with the year 1974 at the bottom. Just to the left of Washington's neck is the famous phrase, "In God We Trust." If your quarter has a small D mint mark, it means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, flipping to the reverse side, we see the image of a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows and an olive branch beneath it. The words United States of America curve along the top, with E pluribus unum below and the denomination quarter dollar at the bottom. This classic design remained largely unchanged until the 50-state quarters program started in 1999. Now, let's talk about what makes some 1974 quarters unique. This unusual light green layer. While quarters are normally a copper-nickel clad composition, oxidation or environmental factors can sometimes cause discoloration over time. Some collectors believe that improper storage or chemical exposure may lead to this greenish tint. However, if this green layer is due to an actual minting anomaly, it could significantly increase its value. So, how much is a 1974 Washington quarter with a D mint mark and light green layer worth today? The value of this coin depends on its condition. In very fine condition, a standard 1974 D quarter without discoloration is generally worth $124,000. However, if the green layer is due to a mint error, it could be considered a rarity, fetching anywhere $126,000 depending on collector demand. In uncirculated condition, regular quarters from this year can sell for $128,000 or more, and certified mint errors can bring even higher prices. Collectors and numismatists are always on the lookout for unique variations, and if you suspect you have a genuine mint error, it may be worth getting your coin professionally graded. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1974 Washington quarter with D mint mark and light green layer. Whether you own one for its historical value or as a potential rarity, this coin is a fascinating part of U.S. numismatics. Next up, we're diving into an incredible piece of American numismatic history. the 1979 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, featuring its silver-like shine and unique black dots on the obverse side. If you have one in extremely fine condition, you might be in for a surprise when it comes to its market value. Let's explore the history, design, special features, and today's collector market value of this fascinating coin. Let's get started. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first U.S. President, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, this quarter quickly became a staple of American currency. By 1979, the quarter had gone through some modifications, but it remained an essential part of daily transactions. The 1979 quarter was produced in 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While this coin is typically composed of copper-nickel clad, some rare variations and high-grade specimens have gained collector interest over the years. The D mint mark on this quarter indicates that it was minted in Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's major facilities. While the 1979 quarter isn't typically made of silver, its shine and condition can sometimes lead to confusion among collectors. Now, let's take a closer look at the design and features of this coin. The obverse side of the 1979 Washington quarter, designed by John Flanagan, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington. Above his head, we see the word Liberty, while the motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed to the left. Below Washington's portrait, we find the year 1979. And of course, to the right side of Washington, there is the prominent D mint mark, signifying that this coin was struck in Denver. Some of these quarters develop small black dots on the obverse side due to environmental exposure or metal oxidation. While this can impact the coin's overall grading, extremely fine condition examples with minimal wear are still highly sought after. On the reverse side, we see the majestic image of an eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, a powerful symbol of American strength and defense. Below the eagle, we see 2 olive branches representing peace. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are above the eagle, while quarter dollar is written at the bottom. This classic design remained unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognized U.S. coin designs. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1979 Washington quarter with D mint mark in extremely fine condition can vary. Coins in extremely fine condition with unique features can sell for $117,000. Collectors and investors alike seek out well-preserved quarters, and those with unique toning or error variations can fetch premium prices. If your 1979D quarter has a strong strike, minimal wear, and eye-catching luster, you might be sitting on a valuable piece of American history. That wraps up our deep dive into the USA quarter dollar, Washington quarter 1979 with a D mint mark. Even with its silver shine and black dots, this coin remains an essential part of numismatic collections. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the USA quarter dollar, Washington quarter 1981 with a P mint mark. If you have one in extremely fine condition, especially with brown spots, you'll want to stay tuned. We'll explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. The Washington quarter has been an essential part of U.S. currency since its debut in 1932. Originally minted to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By 1981, this quarter had become a staple in American commerce. Produced in large quantities by the Philadelphia Mint, the 1981 quarter was part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which continued unchanged until the introduction of the State Quarters program in 1999. The 1981 Washington quarter was struck in a time of economic fluctuation, inflation, and changing minting standards, making it a coin worth examining. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this classic coin. The obverse side of the 1981 quarter features the iconic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The inscription reads "Liberty" above Washington's head, while "In God We Trust" is placed just to the left. Below his image you'll find the year 1981, a key identifier for collectors. This coin bears the P mint mark, indicating it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, flipping to the reverse side, we see the majestic heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows. Below it, olive branches symbolize peace, while above it the inscription reads, "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum." The denomination quarter dollar is engraved at the bottom. This design remained unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognizable American coins. Now let's talk about a unique characteristic: brown spots. Over time, some of these coins develop brown discoloration, often due to oxidation, environmental exposure, or improper storage. This doesn't necessarily devalue the coin significantly, but collectors take note of the extent and location of the spots. An extremely fine condition coin with minor brown spots can still fetch a respectable price in the collector's market. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of a 1981 P Washington quarter in extremely fine condition can vary based on collector demand and overall appearance. Typically, an XF condition coin sells for around $107,000. However, if you have a higher graded version such as an uncirculated or MS coin, values can jump to $111,000 or more. Brown spots may higher the price slightly, and rare varieties or high-demand pieces can still command competitive prices. For serious collectors, having a professionally graded coin by organizations can significantly impact its marketability and value. If you have a well-preserved 1981 P Washington quarter, it's always worth checking with experts before selling. That wraps up our deep dive into the USA quarter dollar Washington quarter 1981 with a P mint mark. Even with brown spots, it remains a significant and collectible piece of American history. Do you have one in your collection? Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the 1984 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, featuring gray dots and in extremely fine condition. If you own one of these coins or are curious about its history, design, features, and current market value, you're in the right place. Let's get started. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design was meant to replace the standing Liberty quarter and was initially intended to be a one-year commemorative issue. However, due to its popularity, the Washington quarter became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. By 1984, the quarter had already undergone multiple minor modifications but remained true to the original design by John Flanagan. This particular coin, minted in Denver, is an excellent example of the enduring legacy of the Washington quarter series. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this iconic quarter. On the obverse, we see the famous portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Above his head, the word "Liberty" is inscribed, while the motto "In God We Trust" is positioned to the left. Below the bust, you'll find the year 1984. The D mint mark, indicating it was minted in Denver, is located just below the bow of Washington's ponytail. Turning to the reverse, we see the majestic American bald eagle, wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows in an olive branch. This symbolizes both the nation's strength in war and its desire for peace. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" appear above, while "quarter dollar" is written below. Some of these quarters, especially those that have been in circulation or exposed to moisture, develop grayish dots over time. These spots are usually caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, or improper storage. While this does affect the overall grade of the coin, pieces in extremely fine condition still hold significant value for collectors. Now, let's talk about value. How much is this quarter worth today? The 1984D Washington quarter in extremely fine condition typically sells for around $96,000. However, if you have one in an even higher grade, such as mint state or proof, the value can climb to $98,000 or more, especially if it has minimal wear and a strong stripe. For collectors looking to invest in vintage U.S. coinage, this quarter remains an accessible yet valuable piece. The presence of gray spots may slightly reduce its appeal, but if the coin retains its luster and detail, it can still fetch a decent price in the market. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1984D Washington quarter with gray dots in extremely fine condition. It's a fantastic piece of American history and a solid addition to any collection. Do you have one of these quarters in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Next up, we have an exciting episode where we dive deep into the history, design, features, and collector's market value of the USA 1987 Washington quarter dollar with a silver shade and P mint mark in extra fine condition. If you own one or are looking to add it to your collection, stay tuned as we explore its fascinating details and current worth in the market. Let's jump right in. The Washington quarter has been an essential part of American coinage since 1932. Originally minted to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this quarter quickly became a staple in U.S. currency. In 1987, the Philadelphia Mint continued the production of the Washington quarter, bearing the P mint mark. While these coins were made primarily from copper nickel clad rather than silver, some pieces exhibit a silver-like sheen due to environmental exposure or unique toning. While not a particularly rare year in terms of mintage, some of these quarters have developed a unique silver tone, which has sparked interest among collectors. So what makes these silver-shaded quarters so appealing? Let's take a closer look. The obverse of the 1987 Washington quarter features the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. This image has been used since 1932 and remains one of the most recognizable faces in U.S. coinage. Above Washington's head, we see the word Liberty, while the year 1987 is inscribed at the bottom. To the left, you'll notice the phrase, "In God We Trust," and most importantly, the P mint mark appears just behind Washington's hairline, indicating it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Flipping to the reverse side, we find the majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing America's strength and desire for peace. Above the eagle, the Latin inscription E pluribus unum stands for out of many, one. Encircling the design, we have the words United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom. The intricate detailing and traditional symbolism make this quarter a true American classic. Now, let's talk about what makes certain 1987 P quarters unique. This unusual silver shade. While standard quarters from 1987 were not struck in silver, some coins may exhibit a silver-like appearance due to a variety of reasons. Natural toning, prolonged environmental exposure, and chemical reactions can sometimes create this silver effect, making these coins stand out among others. While not an official mint error, collectors often find these uniquely toned quarters intriguing. So, how much is this coin worth today? In extra fine condition, a standard 1987 P7P Washington quarter typically, if your coin has a distinct silver-toned appearance, it could attract premium offers from collectors seeking unique variations. Highly desirable, well-preserved pieces with strong eye appeal can fetch anywhere $90,000 or more in online auctions and numismatic markets. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1987 Washington quarter with a silver shade and P mint mark. While this coin may not be made of silver, its unique toning and well-preserved condition can make it a sought piece in the collector's world. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of American numismatics with a special focus on the 1988 Washington quarter with a D mint mark. If you own one with brown spots and in very fine condition, you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. We'll explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, America's first president. This coin was originally intended as a one-year commemorative issue, but its popularity led to its continued production. The 1988 Washington quarter was part of this long-running series and was minted during a period of economic transition in the United States. The D Mint mark on this coin signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities responsible for producing U.S. currency. Denver minted quarters from this period are well regarded for their sharp strikes and overall quality. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. This design has remained relatively unchanged since its inception, showcasing Washington's strong yet composed demeanor. The inscriptions include "Liberty" above Washington's head, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the year 1988 at the bottom. The D Mint mark appears just behind Washington's hairline, denoting its origin from the Denver Mint. Flipping the coin over, we see the iconic heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons while an olive branch rests beneath. The words "United States of America" arc above, with E pluribus unum in the center and quarter dollar at the bottom. This design has been a staple of the Washington quarter series for decades. Many 1988 Washington quarters, particularly those that have been in circulation for years, develop brownish spots. These discolorations are often caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, or impurities in the metal. While these marks may slightly affect the coin's aesthetic appeal, collectors still value well-preserved specimens with minimal wear. Now the big question, what is this coin worth today? The value of the 1988 Washington quarter with D Mint mark varies depending on its condition. In very fine condition, with some wear and brown spots, it generally sells for $85,000. However, if you have a near mint or uncirculated piece, the price can go up to $87,000 or more. And if you're lucky enough to find an error variety, such as an off-centered strike or double die, you might have a coin worth $88,000. For those looking to build a collection of Washington quarters, the 1988D is an affordable and historically significant choice. Coins in pristine condition, especially those graded by professional services, tend to fetch higher prices at auctions. That wraps up our deep dive into the USA quarter dollar 1988 with D Mint mark. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this coin remains a fascinating piece of American history. Next up, we're diving into a classic American coin, the 1993 Washington quarter with a P Mint mark. If you have one with a light gray layer in very fine condition, stay tuned because we'll explore its history, design, unique features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. Well, the Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since its introduction in 1932. It was originally minted to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, this coin quickly became a favorite among collectors and the general public alike. The 1993 Washington quarter is part of the long-running series that has seen various modifications over the years, but it maintains the classic design that has stood the test of time. The 1993 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark was minted in Philadelphia, one of the primary coin production sites in the United States. This particular coin features a clad composition of copper and nickel, a standard for quarters since 1965. The obverse side of the 1993 quarter features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The inscriptions include "Liberty" above his head, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the year 1993 at the bottom. The P mint mark, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia, is placed just behind Washington's neck. Flipping to the reverse side, we see the iconic image of an American bald eagle with its wings spread wide, clutching arrows and an olive branch in its talons. The inscriptions read, United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum just below it, and $quarter at the bottom. This strong and majestic design symbolizes the strength and resilience of the United States. Some of these 1993 Washington quarters, especially those that have been in circulation for a while, develop a light gray layer due to natural oxidation or wear. This phenomenon occurs when the outer nickel layer dulls over time, giving the coin a toned or slightly aged appearance. While this may slightly affect its aesthetic appeal, it does not necessarily diminish its collector value. Now, let's talk about what collectors are willing to pay for this coin today. The value of the 1993 Washington quarter with P mint mark depends heavily on its condition. In very fine condition, like the one we're discussing today, this coin typically sells for $70,000. However, if you happen to own one in an uncirculated condition or even a proof version, the value can jump significantly, anywhere $74,000 or more, depending on grading and demand. For serious collectors, high-grade Washington quarters with full details and minimal wear can fetch even higher prices, especially if they are certified by reputable grading companies. If you come across an error variety or a well-preserved example, you could be looking at an even greater return on your investment. That wraps up our in-depth look at the 1993 Washington quarter with P mint mark in very fine condition. Even with its light gray layer, this coin remains a valuable and historic piece of American coinage. Do you have one in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more coin content. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.